Super teams are dead, dormant at the very least. The NBA hasn't seen this level of parity since the 1970s, as the Larry O'Brien Trophy appears truly up for grabs among a bevy of hopeful contenders. In fact, it's the most wide-open title race in the league's 77-year history, and we should all relish that. The last 4 championships have been won by 4 different teams, with 7 different squads appearing in the last 4 finals between 2019 and 2022. The NBA last had a 4-year run like that between the 2006 and 2009 finals, but the league's much more balanced now than it was then. Coming off that previous 4-year run, the NBA entered the 2009-10 season with the defending champion Lakers as consensus favorites, and the Cavaliers and Celtics joining them in a class head and shoulders above the remaining 27 teams. All 3 of those overwhelming favorites began that season with better than 5-1 odds to win the 2010 championship. No other team had better than 10-1 odds. And lo and behold, Los Angeles and Boston wound up meeting in the 2010 finals, while Cleveland won a league-best 61 games during the regular season. In stark contrast, this year's title race is unprecedented. For one, there is no consensus, as the Warriors, Celtics, Clippers, and Bucks could each be found as a preseason title favorite. The average 6-1 odds of those co-favorites marked the biggest such figure for any season opening favorite on record, according to ESPN. In addition, Boston's league-best over-under win total was set at only 53.5, the lowest total for a top team in the 28-year database of Basketball Reference. There are probably 16 teams in the league right now who consider themselves at least fringe contenders. And that's not even including the team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis on it. In other words, more than half of a league historically known for its championship exclusivity started this season with somewhat realistic finals ambitions.
Introduce a little anarchy.
With 2023 draft headliner Victor Wembanyama turning heads, there's been much speculation about a potentially epic tank for the ages. The Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Pacers, and yes, even those hot starting Jazz are already well positioned to occupy space in the league's basement. With LaMelo Ball sidelined to start the season, the Hornets could have a head start on joining them in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. That's already 6 projected cellar dwellers, and getting into the lottery offers no guarantees. The 7th best odds only offer a 7.5% chance of winning the number 1 pick, and only the worst 8 teams have a greater than 5% chance of winning. There's been so much focus on that potentially shameful race to the bottom that it seems many have lost sight of what's shaping up to be the greatest race to the top the league has ever seen. 76ers president Daryl Morey has long believed that teams with at least a 5% chance of winning a championship should go all in toward an aggressive pursuit of a title. But historically, even those modest odds were reserved for a very select few teams. In the first 6 years of 538's NBA predictions model, only 3 to 8 teams entered each season with at least a 5% chance of winning the title. Before this season tipped off, 538 gave 11 teams a 5% shot of winning it all. And as of the start of this week, 14 teams had at least a 5% chance of making the finals. Using Morey's 5% rule, even the middle of the pack, historically a depressing no man's land for NBA teams, can sniff legitimate contention this season. When compared to whatever remnants of lottery odds will be left for them, the projections indicate that, for the first time ever, a middling team would actually be better served making a win-now trade rather than one meant to expedite its freefall. As the season plays out, the field of wannabe contenders will shrink, and we may look back and laugh at the fact some of these teams were even seen as fringe title hopefuls. But the point is that more teams than ever started the season with those ambitions. In every other major sports league, hope springs eternal for most teams on opening night. The NBA was never that league, with a very clear divide between a handful of haves and 20 to 25 have-nots. The fact an unprecedented number of teams at least tipped off a new campaign with such lofty goals is refreshing for the association. In addition to shorter contracts fueling more player movement and star empowerment, this golden age of NBA parity can be traced back to the summer of 2019. First, Kawhi Leonard's Raptors halted, or at least paused, the Warriors dynasty, defeating the NBA's last great super team in the 2019 finals, kickstarting the run of 4 different champions in 4 years. Kevin Durant, whose absence from the majority of that series aided Toronto's quest for the 2019 title, then left Golden State in free agency. The Warriors weren't exactly left for dead, but without Durant, they were merely a great team. With him, they were inevitable. Later that summer, Leonard chose the Clippers over the Lakers and Raptors. Sure, by teaming up with Paul George, Kawhi still ensured he'd be leading a perennial contender, but it turned out to be the least damaging option for the league's competitive balance. Had he joined LeBron and AD on what would have been an unfathomably terrifying Lakers squad, the era of the super team would have continued into a new decade. Had Kawhi stayed put north of the border, the Raptors would have been favored to repeat as champions. The new-look Clippers, meanwhile, merely joined a group of fellow contenders that's only increased in size and grown in balance in the years since. Consider that during the 3 years Durant spent with the Warriors, Golden State's league-leading preseason championship odds ranged from 39% to 55%, according to 538. No team entered this season with greater than even 21% odds. Obviously, the Warriors dynasty is still alive and well. And yes, there is an outrageously unique, potentially transcendent talent waiting in the wings for the league's bottom feeders in the draft. But there's an equally unique race shaping up for the Larry O'Brien Trophy that should be marveled at and celebrated too. It took 77 years for the NBA to get here. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.